lawyer and journalist, and together we'll go through some of the big stories making rounds in Nigeria today. Welcome, Sal.
Thank you, man. It's great
how,
to be.
How are you? What's happening?
Nothing is happening. I just feel good today.
A lot has happened since you were here last week, I believe.
Okay,
I mean, in
terms of the country, a lot
the dollar
happening.
going down and coming back up.
Going back up. So what has really improved? Nothing. Are we making progress? We don't know yet, but we are still very hopeful.
No, but we'll see that with the right policies, the Naira can fight back.
Definitely, with the right policies, with the right people in office as well. I was hoping that with the appointment of the CBN governor, because there was a lot of crisis going on with the Naira and the dollar already, I felt like the president at that point in time was looking for the right hand or was interviewing the right people that had possible solutions to these things, not giving us excuses. Because the latest statement, like I said to you before we got on air, that we heard from the CBN governor, we are not buying excuses for him for the reason for the current situation in the country economically. There's no excuses. We don't want excuses. We want solutions to the problems.
All right, let's get into our first story for today, and we'll be looking at what the opposition is saying about the governors, absentee governors, who rule from outside their state, as well as what the Constitution says about all of that. And the worry most times is if there are any repercussions, anything that would happen to those who go against the Constitution. Because we see time and time again that some of our leaders do things that the Constitution clearly spells out and nothing is done. There's no they're not reprimanded for it. They just go on business as usual. And we see right here that they have been growing indications that some governors in the country are governing their people from outside of their states. Some of them allegedly govern their states from the FCT and other parts of the world. Now, according to residents of these states and several residents and stakeholders complaining about the attitude of these governors, noting that their absence from the states negates the principle of good governance. The report also reveals that most of these governors do not hand over to their deputies, but prefer to make most of the decisions of the state from wherever it is that they are, flouting the constitutional provision that stipulates that the governor has a statutory duty to sit and ensure lives and properties are secured and protected. Now, they're not expected in any way to stay outside the state for more than 2 weeks because they are the chief security officer of their state. And a couple of governors were mentioned in this list, from Kwara to Gombe to Sokoto, Zamfara, Kogi, and the likes. But the question or the thoughts people would share would be the fact that power is at the center. Everything is central. So maybe these governors are fighting for certain things. It's still Nigeria. What does that mean, that you have to be in your state when your attention or presence is needed in the center based on what you might be fighting for your people who are back home?
First of all, this is not a new thing, and this has nothing to do with the opposition or ruling party. I think it has become a norm, for most governors in Nigeria. I say most, I'm not, don't quote me, so most governors in Nigeria tend to rule from Abuja for whatever reason best known to them, This has happened for as long as possible. I'm surprised we're just raising it up right now. The opposition is raising it up right now. Let me not look at the motive for why they're raising it right now, because this is actually a concern. Because how can you properly govern your state from outside the state? Because the purpose of you being a governor of the state, you have to be in the state to govern the people of the state. And if you're not in the state, how do you know the problems of the state? How do you feel the needs and wants of the people? So we talked about we have a situation right now where we have laws in this country, a big law as a law contained in the Constitution. That's a grand norm, That's like the biggest of the biggest. And we just have these laws being violated a lot of times and without any repercussion, But who can we blame? These governors have immunity, So who is supposed to even reprimand them? They are the chief security officers of their states. I don't know what I was thinking earlier when I saw this. I just still went back to the people, the electorate. These are reasons why it's important for us to appoint the right people into office.
But how can you tell who's going to rule away from their state?
Yeah, I wanted to say right is subjective. Because some people might have problem with these governors ruling from Abuja or wherever in the world. Some might not have any problem based on the comments that we see. But there are laws. There are laws that are put in place. There are stipulations that have been put in place. You have to make sure that these leaders are actually adhering to the laws and the stipulations that have been put in place. It's easy for them to come out during elections and say, vote me into office, I'm going to do this and do that. They mentioned mostly the northern governors there, and what's peculiar to the north right now, insecurity. You were an incoming governor that wanted to be governor of the state. You knew that there was insecurity in the state. You knew how depth the insecurity has eaten into your state. You still ran for office promising heaven and earth, but you go into power and you run to Abuja. I think that's very, very unfair. That's very, very unserious. And this immunity of a thing, though, I don't know. But there are arguments for and against it, because if you take it out, they say, if you start pressing charges against the governors, you would distract them.
That would hold them back from
Exactly, from performing. But you give them immunity. What are they doing with the immunity right now? I feel like a lot of them are abusing the immunity.
Now, speaking about working out of their state, some weeks ago, we had the governor of Ondo State also face a bit of backlash. Now, he had health challenges before then, came back to the country, and he was working from Ibadan. So that's a different state capital. And his aide made excuses as to why that was happening, saying that he needed a more suitable residence given his current health condition. So would that have meant that there was no way to provide the same comfort for him in his state?
I think when it comes to the governor of Ondo State, the SAN, you could tell that he's dealing with something really personal. Why he's still holding on to office, only God knows.
What's wrong with handing power over to your deputy? I mean, that's the reason you're there. What could be the fair concern?
Are you asking a Nigerian?
Maybe I want to get
a Nigerian politician. Yeah, what's wrong with? How many times have we seen? We had a president that was dead in this country. That was dead, and they didn't tell the citizens the president was dead. They were holding on to power with a dead president. That's how far our leaders go. It goes back to my point of last week Monday when I said we have some very selfish leaders. These are selfish interests at the end of the day. Because if you're really ruling or you're governing your people and you care about the welfare of your people, you easily be like, okay, I'm no longer strong enough to give you guys the best. Yeah, because you have to be at the top of your health for you to be able to give the best. So when you figure out, I'm not at the top of my health game right now, the best thing for you to do for the love of your people, these are the people you say you care about, Abi. These are the people you say you came to govern to make sure they have great life, they have great policies and whatnot. You step aside. No, they don't have to bully you to step aside.
Some would query the fact that, it's not a marathon, it's not the Olympics. You don't need to be in great health or have great health for you to deliver on what is required of you.
Totally disagree, because even the Constitution talks about the health status of our leaders. They have to be in great health. We just happen to be in a country right now where these leaders that are underperforming or that are violating the law still have supporters, and they still have a lot of power, so they can manipulate their ways through their lack of compliance, which is still very sad, because in a sane society, in the right society, we will figure out a legal way to take you out of office.
Speaking about what's happening in some states right now, 31 governors shun amendment, financial autonomy for state assemblies. Now, findings show that House of Assembly in only 5 states, Lagos, Delta, Plateau, Oyo, and Nasarawa, currently enjoy a semblance of full financial independence. So 12 others have partial autonomy, and they are Adamawa, Akwa Ibom, Benue, Borno, Cross River, a couple of other states. However, those without any shade of financial autonomy are Ondo, Katsina, Gombe, Taraba, Yobe, Ekiti, Abia, Imo, and so on. Others are Bayelsa, Anambra, Ebonyi, Niger, and the list just goes on and on and on. A couple of weeks ago, these bodies went on an indefinite strike. Not sure if they've been able to sort that out.
No.
But 20 states nationwide began and went on that nationwide industrial strike following the expiration of the ultimatum for the implementation of financial autonomy by state assemblies in the country. Now, the Ekiti State Person Chairman, Benga, noted that financial autonomy is for both the national and the state assemblies, while the National Assembly has been enjoying full autonomy because their funds are put in the first line charge. In the past 10 years, the story is different for the legislative arm of the government in states. And he explained that compliance with autonomy could be divided into 3 levels: partial, full, and non-compliance. Now, there is full autonomy, financial autonomy, when the spirit and letter of Section 121 is implemented. Allocations of the legislature are placed in the first line charge, and it is partially implementation when salaries are still being paid by the executive. So this is going against the constitution again by these states. Now, what could be the reason? Would it be because they're trying to hold on to these persons and have a bit of upper hand? Or for whatever reason, they just feel like they will not be able to manage the finances themselves, and that's why they're holding back?
No, I agree with the former. Yeah, we're going to throw the latter aside. Yeah, I don't think these governors care so much about managing finances, whatever. So this issue of the autonomy,
yes.
We dealt with the one with the local government. Now we're dealing with the one with the state houses of assembly. This has been going on for a very long while. Even the former president, Muhammadu Buhari, he even went to the extent of signing like an executive order 10, to ensure that this could be implemented. But what did the governors do still as well? They ran to the court to try to invalidate the executive order, and you're asking, what's the reason? Why are they so bent on holding on to controlling the legislative arm of government in their states? Because there's a reason. We were talking about last week where there's situations where a deputy governor falls out with the governor of the state. The next thing you do, you manipulate what the legislature, to take him out. So there's a little bit of or there's a lot of control. I'm not going to call it a little bit, because when you're dealing with the finances, because we're looking at the judiciary as well. We've had a condition in this country for a very long while where we always complain that the judiciary does not act like they're independent. Like the judiciary acts like it's under the control of the executive. Meanwhile, these are supposed to be 3 independent bodies, but we're not seeing that independence. And I think it's very, very sad at this point in time. 5 out of 36. That's very shameful.
Now, speaking about the other 10 that you mentioned, in a split decision of 6 justices to 1, the Supreme Court nullified the executive order 10 initiated by the former president to grant financial autonomy to the state judiciary and legislature. The apex court held that the executive order 10 was inconsistent with the 1999 constitution and was therefore illegal, null and void, and of no effect whatsoever.
Yeah, but the Constitution provides for autonomy for the legislative arm in the state as well. So this is the problem, and I don't think the judiciary is taking note of what's going on. I don't think they're observing that the population of Nigeria is losing trust in the judiciary. They are losing their integrity, and I don't think they give a damn at this point in time, because when you're ruling against the people, I say against the people because when you're making judgments that are not favorable to the people, who are you working for at this point in time?
Let's go on a break. When we come back, we'll have you land on that thought and talk about more stories making the rounds today in Nigeria.
This is Nigeria Info.
Hello there.
This is
Audio Jungle.
Hello, my name is Kimberly Nwachukwu. I'm the host of Hard Facts, and I bring you the biggest stories driving conversation every weekday here on 95.1 Nigeria Info Hard Fact Show. I love to get your opinion and conjectures, but the facts you cannot dispute here on Hard Facts. Join me and let's talk.
This is Nigeria Info.
Nigeria Info.
This is Nigeria Info.
137. And good afternoon, Takwe. Thank you for thank you for that. You don't blame our leaders ruling us anywhere they feel like, because the system and the structure that brought them is faulty. Individuals are stronger than the institution. True or false? God bless Nigeria. That's the thoughts that Triple D in Waru is sharing. And Oludade Abiodun says, it's very sad the governor will abandon his state for Abuja or Lagos. Why is it that they cannot develop their state with billions they receive every month? I want to believe that they're very lazy, because with the numerous resources available in each state in Nigeria, they should be able to develop their various states without stress. That's what Oludade thinks. All right, so let's have you land on that thought you were sharing before we had to take commercial.
What were we talking about?
We're talking about the judiciary and the fact that the autonomy for the state's houses of assembly is not meeting what the constitution is required of them or requiring of them. It's a bit of a holdback, and that is why the governors seem to have the upper hand when certain decisions need to be taken.
Yeah, we're looking at the motive behind that, and we could tell as well this is very selfish on the part of the governors as well, where they want to have maximum control in their states. But I was looking at another angle of this as well, because I said earlier, okay, the governors want to be in charge. That's why they're not giving up this autonomy. But last week we saw a situation in Rivers State, where the House of Assembly had ganged up, so to say, against the sitting governor of the state. And there were speculations that the gang up was backed or was being spearheaded by a former governor. Yeah, so I'm saying that to still give a balance to what I said earlier, this was not a sitting governor, but this was a former governor, allegedly, that was spearheading the impeachment of a governor using his power, to control the legislative arm of government in his state as well, So I think at this point in time, the legislative members in these various states on their own, I think they need to start thinking about their own independence and fighting for it, by not making themselves slaves in the hands of any master, basically, just like the judiciary as well, because you could stand up and say no to control by any godfather or any slave master. So I think the buck lands on their head right now to push for what they truly want. Because some of them don't act like they even want this because you're acting like a follower. You're not acting like you're supposed to be independent.
On a nationwide strike, and we haven't seen much of a difference.
We're still looking at their actions though, because when we look at what happened in Rivers State last week, that was obviously spearheaded by somebody. That was not a decision they were making on their own as an independent body in the state.
All right. We've spoken about the 31 governors shunning amendments, financial autonomy for state assemblies, as well as opposition parties, residents condemning absentee governors who are ruling the state from different locations, including the FCT. Let's move on to our next headline right now. It has to do with Imo State and the upcoming off-cycle election. A lot of drama happening in Imo State. It's as though every day comes with its different angle to what's happening in that state. A couple of hours ago, videos made the rounds that students of the state university were complaining to the embarrassing.
They were protesting.
The governor. And we saw what happened with the NLC president, what the NLC is saying, and now they are going to be going on a strike from midnight, a shutdown of the state. It's going to affect the elections if indeed that strike goes through. And according to them, they're fighting for the rights of the workers in that particular state. But we also see INEC stating that violence will not be allowed. Any polling units with violence and their votes will be cancelled, and there will be no rerun in those polling units. So a bit of, in a bid to maybe redeem their image, because Nigerians have somewhat complained about losing faith in the electoral body, and they're trying to do as much as possible to ensure that this off-cycle election somewhat brings them back in good light, if that's that's the angle that you're looking towards working through.
What do we address first? Let's look at the INEC statement. I'm one of those Nigerians that have given up on INEC.
No, but why would you do that? Because they're mandated to
we have given
conduct the
INEC
elections in the country.
time and time again. You can't come out and promise now. I don't think most Nigerians believe whatever this present INEC chairman says. Maybe if we have a new chairman, we could. Because he made a lot of promises prior to the 2023 general elections, and he came after the elections to deny everything that he said, or he didn't keep to his words. So him even saying right now that where there's violence in any polling unit, the results are not going to be counted. I don't think that's the solution. How do we prevent the violence? Instead of just cancelling or allowing violence to take place.
Well, the IG has put certain things in place in terms of...
What did the IG put in place?
Changing the CPs to ensure that there is no...
changing the CPs,
concern about who is in charge.
I don't think that's enough. You might be a different IG right now, but we saw the elections last time. The policemen were there, the violence was happening, and they sat down saying, what do you want us to do? I don't think that's enough. We need to take very stringent measures at this point in time. Enough of the talk, more of action. How do we ensure that the votes of Nigerians start counting? That's very important. That's a very, very important discussion. That's where INEC needs to win the hearts of Nigerians, win the trust of Nigerians back. Win the trust of Nigerians back by assuring them, not just telling them with your mouth, by putting things in place that we ensure that their votes count and the results cannot be manipulated. Whether you're transferring the result via IREV or not, how do you ensure Nigerians that their votes are going to count and the votes are not going to be manipulated, and they are going to be able to vote in a very free and sane environment without violence? Do not come to Nigerians and start telling Nigerians that, wherever there is violence, the results are not going to count. That's not what Nigerians need to hear from an INEC chairman.
But what do you make of this statement by the NLC head International Relations, Uchenna Ekwe, where he stated that Imo people have been plagued with violence and that the election would not produce anything? He also said that the workers in Imo State did not have faith that the elections would determine anything, and went on to state that no other parties were allowed to have their posters put up in the state.
Except APC.
Except the ruling party in that state. And he says what would happen, what would change if elections don't hold in Imo State? And this is supposed to hold on Saturday, this Saturday.
This is already on Saturday here. If this is already happening in terms of oppression and whatnot, first of all, Imo State has been a hotbed all this while in terms of insecurity. That was a problem on its own, which INEC, you're going to conduct election in this hotbed. What measures have you put in place since then till now to make sure that the place is safe for elections to take place? Because if the place is not safe for elections to take place, because right now it's looking like, allegedly though, this insecurity is looking stage managed, because when I'm seeing a sitting governor, allegedly right now banning other political parties, because we've seen this before, from having their banners, their campaign banners displayed in the state.
His own doing. You know how overzealous
this could be doings of your people. You call your people to order,
but at the same time,
because we're in a state. We're in the state. Like, you're a governor, you give directives, you give declarations. You put things in place. This is an election. We're in a democracy. We're not in a military. If you have the fighting force as a sitting governor, you're starting there for 4 years. You should come out with confidence to come and contest against anybody that is running against you based on your performance with no fear. There's no need for intimidation. And as far as INEC is concerned, you cannot blame the people of the state if they are saying they don't feel safe to come out on election day to vote, because that shows that you have not done your work to guarantee their safety. And if the people do not come out to vote, what do we have?
Well, the NLC and TUC have ordered an immediate shutdown of flights and power supply in Imo State. The leadership of the union reached the resolution after their extraordinary National Executive Council meeting on Tuesday in Abuja. In a communique issued after the meeting and co-signed by the TUC President, Festus Osifo, and the NLC Deputy President, Adewale Adeyanju, the two unions also declared a total nationwide strike effective next Tuesday, November 14th. Now, we can count. Can we count the number of times that they have declared a strike but never gone through with it? And that has also, questioned their loyalty. Who does it lie with? The people or the government? And there have also been talks about the mixing of politics and unionism as well, even with what happened with the NLC president.
That's what I was thinking about as well, because I was looking at this latest move by the NLC and I was thinking, is this personal or is this for the people? And like you said, last week where the NLC president was attacked? That was very...
Last Wednesday.
Yeah, that was very shameful. That's very sad. That's very shameful. I feel sorry for him. But I do not think that is... I feel like that's a personal issue which he should sort out personally with the law. But I don't know what law right now, because if you're attacked by the police, where do you go to? Who are you prosecuting? But that's by the way, though. But the NLC, I was thinking earlier today, I feel like organized labor as a body in Nigeria has lost its integrity as well. We're having a lot of bodies in the country that are losing their integrities.
So how can they come back to that point? Because right now, anytime an average Nigerian hears about the strike action, it's like, what is going on? We know you'll be called off a couple of minutes to when it's about to start.
The strike is looking like it's more punishment and hardship on the people, because when you cut off electricity, you are putting people in the position where they are going to buy fuel and diesel at a very ridiculous amount of money. That's worse than what it is with us using the lights. I feel like the NLC as a body, I don't know. First of all, it needs to be scrapped, but I think they need to find.
No, but, hold on. Why do you use the word scrapped? Why scrapped? Because the people need representation.
I feel like people have lost trust.
So how can they get back to that point where their integrity is restored?
I feel like we need to find another body that is going to speak for the people. Another body that is serious.
Another body will have the same people there. So what difference does it make? Is it about the name?
No, that will not have the same people there. But this one, we changed the leadership recently, and we still have the same issue.
No, but we see that they've been really vocal about what's happening in Nigeria.
They're really vocal, though, because like you said earlier, you declare strike, then we see in talks with the government. We really don't know what goes on behind the scene, apart from the little things they come to tell us. Then you call off the strike. Sometimes, like once we saw this year, they went through with the strike, but was it of any benefit to the people? I don't think so. If there's anything we suffered, I personally suffered. Do not take my power out, man. You figure out other ways to go about your strike. Because the NLC has been doing one thing for so long right now. It's not working. You know, the strike is not working. Figure out another mode of operation. And if you're really there for the people, let's see it by your actions. But you cannot be going on strike and punishing the citizens, and you say you're working for the benefit of the citizens, and we have not seen anything. Where's the minimum wage? What's happened with the workers, with the petrol subsidy? Where are the palliatives? What has he yielded?
I mean,
I don't
they
think
signed
he's yielded anything.
a 30-day review MOU with the federal government. So we were meant to have a review of that last week. That did not happen because it clashed. It was meant to happen this week. Well, we've not seen that happen yet. So
Itodo, when serious bodies come together and they really want to reach an agreement that is of benefit to the people, it doesn't take this long. I do not see what we're reviewing and reviewing and reviewing and reviewing for so long. I mean, the year is almost over. We have been reviewing MOUs, memorandums of understanding. Where are the agreements? Where are the concrete agreements? Where are the solid negotiations? I cannot see any. You know, that's what I'm saying. Like, Nigerians right now, oh my God, it was very sad though that when the NLC president was attacked, I read some of the comments online. I felt sorry for him. I don't know whether his handlers are telling him these things. They were rejoicing. The people were rejoicing.
No, but that would have been a cross section, because a lot of people also complained about, frowned upon what was done to him.
Yes, quite some people frowned upon it, but majority of the comments I saw, I cannot be reading a comment on an independent site and everybody is just like, oh, beat him more, do this more. We do not condone violence, but you have to now think and be like, okay, these are the people I'm fighting for. Where are we getting it wrong? Because sometimes as a body, you might be getting it wrong. You have to reappraise sometimes. You have to go to the drawing board and figure out, okay, we have been taking this route for a long time. This is not working. This is not yielding any results. What do we do next? Because you have to keep trying different options. You can't keep doing one thing and it's not working.
All right, let's take some feedback right now. Go to the phone lines and hear what you have to say, your reactions to the stories we've taken so far. You can call in 0700 951 0000, 08095974869. You have 2 minutes. That's 120 seconds to share your thoughts. So please go straight to your point. Move away from your device when you call in, so give room for others to also call in once you're done with your thoughts in 2 minutes. You can send a WhatsApp message, call the WhatsApp line 08099930137. Welcome.
I'm talking. Hello, Itodo.
Yes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. And good afternoon to your guest.
Afternoon.
And he has made me not to miss a motive. I really appreciate his input this afternoon.
What's your name?
My name is Tyra.
Go ahead, Tyra.
I think I want to agree with him in everything that he has said. He just made the nail on the head or whatever. And in terms of Joe Ajay, like I said, I will still say it tomorrow. If I were to be in the shoe, if he's listening to me, I think he should even rest. Nigeria is not worth dying for. I will keep saying it. Nigeria is not worth dying for because of our political differences, our tribal differences, our religious differences, and party differences. That is why we always mix the two together. If you see somebody who wants to fight for even the masses, they will turn it around to make it look as if the person is being political or something like that. Ever since Joe Adero came aboard, it has been, Labour Party, Labour, he said, is this. But it's not true. I saw a man, a rugged man, at least from that very place, who wants to do something different. But we society, because of the kind of people that we have, doesn't want to let him do what he wants to do.
All right.
You have a TAC. Those I don't even trust. Among all of them, I can only trust that Joe Adero.
All right,
Tyra. I think he means well. But the truth is that he's fighting against a lot of forces that will not allow him to really do what he wants to do.
All right, Tyra. Welcome. Are you there? Good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon.
Welcome. What's your name?
Right, Tony from Warimpa.
Welcome, Tony. Go ahead.
Thanks, our guest. He joined justice to that topic, or to all the topics. INEC should ensure a level playing ground is created in Imo. For the governor not to allow other parties to put their banners, their posters in that state, is not fair. Election is not following him. It's for the political parties. If people determine leadership, it shouldn't be him trying to impose. I can see desperation on his part. You shouldn't be desperate. And they should be level playing ground for the Imo like to choose whoever they want, not for the governor to impose himself on the people. So INEC should come out. I monitor election all over the world. I don't hear this in India. I don't hear this in America. So INEC should come hard. And ensure call the governor to order.
All right, Tony.
Thanks.
Welcome. Hello.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. What's your name?
Here calling from AYA.
What's your name again?
Here calling from AYA.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just want to talk of the INEC. Itodo.
Yes.
Even if, so, see this present INEC chairman and his crew, they cannot do free and fair election.
Why do you say that?
I will never believe on them. His judgment, no man will judge him. His judgment is waiting for him between him and God. He can never keep the promise. He just wants to deceive opposition. At the end, is what he's saying. Is he in literal law?
No, but wouldn't you rather wait? Can I ask you a question, please?
What he's saying is that he will cancel a vote in a polling unit. Is he in a literal law? He just deceiving Nigerians, and God will judge him. That is the only thing.
All right, Ian. Welcome.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. What's your name?
Thank you. My name is Elias.
Can you move away from your device? I'm getting feedback. It's a bit distracting. Thank you.
Okay. Is it okay now?
Let's try this. Go ahead.
Okay. Thank you. When you are talking about the election in Imo, and you say that INEC conduct election, fair election? Remember, it's not the INEC. INEC is just for conducting an election. INEC is not a security. INEC can go there if the security peaceful, cohesive, and can conduct the election, and INEC will announce the result. When you say that INEC did not, this INEC is partisan, I wonder. Is INEC will go to hold a gun or to point at those people that have come to vote that in fact you must do this, you must do this. No, it is security. If there's violence, we should be calling IG that this is what we want you to do. And the president now we assist the effort of IG, but yet some people just blunt eye to it because it is not going in their favor. Let me tell you today, there's nothing Nigerian man will do because all of us we belong to one political party or another. If it is not in our favor, automatic, there's nothing good about Nigeria.
All right.
But if it's in our favor, it is good. But what happened in that particular email we are talking about, you can see the election of 2023. House of Rep, Senator, we in Abuja here, we said, APC can never get one vote there. They are the one who get the majority. Where did they get the result from? But now again, we are seeing the way even the Labour, they are tripping out, even endorsing Hope Uzodinma. And somebody which is, we know, actually we did not blame him, Jerry Jero, because he's a Labour party. We cannot say they should not be partisan. Of course, from his party, that is where the political party starts from. You need to support, but the time that he goes is very wrong time.
All right, Elias.
If you are the one, the governor there, you will never allow what Ajero goes there to do. You will never allow the thing to take place. You may do one more than that. So, but I wish. Are
you speaking for me right now, Eliasu? I don't think you should do that.
Sir?
You don't know what I can do or not do, but I wouldn't toe that line.
My brother, nobody will insult you in national television and come back to your place. You give him water to drink.
How did he insult the governor? He was fighting for the right of the workers in that state and made certain demands. So how's that been insultive?
You need to watch his national television before Ajero say they are going there. It's not like the way the other CUC president now say yesterday. You will be mentoring somebody like say we are there where the thing is happening.
All right, Eliasu, we'll let you go right now. Your time is up. All right. Thank you for sharing your thoughts right there. Let's take some messages on WhatsApp right now, shall we? 08099930137. But quickly, Salisu. Now, the thing is, we always blame INEC. for everything that goes wrong. But then there's the people. There are the people who play the role in terms of disrupting the elections, snatching ballot boxes, causing violence. Even though we know that with these off-cycle elections, we have a joint task force, and the military have warned those who plan on who plan to snatch ballot boxes, that they will not find it or have it easy. There's that concern. But then everyone should maybe be sharing the blame of disrupting elections and making the work more difficult for INEC, who is the conducting body.
Yeah, I think that's the little part I agree with the last caller, because he was like, we're blaming INEC for everything. INEC cannot do everything. I totally agree with that. But we need to observe ourselves as a people and as a country. There's a way the average Nigerian behaves. If there are not measures put in place, sometimes the average Nigerian does not comply. Let's give an example of even the common traffic lights that we have here in Abuja. If the road safety people are not watching from somewhere, or the VI people are not there, we will break the light. That's us. There needs to be measures put in place to control the typical average Nigerian. And why I was hammering at the INEC chairman or on INEC on its own as a body should pride itself, by conducting credible elections. I don't think you should just sit down there and say, oh, it's not my business. I've done my own part. I'm not in charge of security. Let me just bring my ballot papers and whether there's vote buying or whatnot, I've done my own part. I don't think that's not what a great body should look forward to. I think a great body should look forward to, if I need a security, please, security, I need you. I need you to make sure that I look good, when these elections are conducted. So what do you need? How do we collaborate? So it's that effort I'm talking about in terms of the collaboration. What effort is INEC making to collaborate with these security agencies to prevent these things? Because we can't leave it on the people. Like we said earlier, some of these supporters are crazy. They want to please their masters to make sure that they emerge and whatnot, and they will go all out. So how do we control them? We cannot leave it on Nigerians to do the right things. No, we have to put things in place to ensure that Nigerians do the right things.
All right, let's take some messages right now. And this one from James Ahua in Dutse concerning the states that are withholding financial autonomy to their houses of assembly. Is it not possible for members of such states' assemblies to veto their state governors' dogged stand on this matter? Well, I don't blame the governors. How far have the assemblies in their lawmaking impacted the people they are representing? The governors in the states or in Nigeria act like emperors. They hold the local government funds and the state houses of assembly. It is well with our country. That's what James Ahoa thinks about all of this. And Radio Senator says the workers' union are not fighting for any workers, but rather themselves. Why should the NLC and TUC want to embark on a strike during the election period? The federal government should not condone that. Imo State is not the only state owing workers' salary. And Triple D says, is it the same INEC that conducted the general elections, telling Nigerians that there will be transparency in the off-cycle? How? We are watching. While Hafsat says, another strike again? What is happening in the country? May God help us. Well, the strike is not on yet, okay? They say it's going to be on, or it's going to come up next week if it ever goes through. Emeka the Great Ingwa Rimpa says, will a party in Imo State disrupt elections or results in polling units where the party is strong? This decision by INEC is not good. All right, let's see more messages. Obedient man, I'm telling whoever cares to listen that INEC may not conduct free elections in the off-cycle states. Haven't they seen the fightings, killings, and intimidation in Kogi and Imo? What is always happening with this ruling party-controlled states? We say that NLC are not acting but talking, but their president talks and was brutalized, hammered and tinkered by these people in a country called Nigeria. I ask, what happened in that state happen in the US, Germany, or even Egypt? Never, because they are countries working for the benefits of their citizens, is what Obedient Manamaker is saying. And Comrade Chris Eziocha in Mandala says, some governors operating from outside the shores of their states, it's a display of insensitivity and high level of impunity. The immunity clause in our constitution has done more harm than good, has deepened the level of inequality in our socio-political system. Confronting ourselves with certain realities would go a long way to checkmate some of the inadequacies, failures, and limitations. And Adeni Shitun Wusetu says, I quite agree with your guess. NLC should be scrapped. They are fast becoming a political movement. If care is not taken, nobody will obey their orders. All right. And this one says, in the last election, the security personnel said they couldn't do anything except INEC gives them the order. Please note that the present... All right, Tunde. Thank you for your thought. Right there. We need to go on a break shortly, but I'll have you react to any of the comments that caught your attention. I mean, in terms of ensuring that a free and fair election is held in all of these states, Imo, Kogi, and Bayelsa.
Like on what we're seeing in most of the states, especially Kogi and Imo, are the insecurity issues. I just hope the security issues are really tackled with, because security is not a joke. The life of every Nigerian should matter. The life of every Nigerian should matter. And I like what the last person said there. Which still puts a question of integrity on the labor organization, now looking like a political party. Why are you proposing a strike right now when the election is holding? It just, and somebody said earlier, this is not the only state where the governor has not paid salary.
Should there be any excuse for the workers being owed their salary? How are they meant to deliver in this day and age where things are difficult?
Excuses though, but I'm looking at the timing as well, so how come you didn't do anything about these things as a labor organization? So it's now when it's time for the election. So when you disrupt this, or if you disrupt these elections from holding, so what happens next? Because the elections have to hold. I think what the Labour Party should be trying to ensure is that the elections hold peacefully, and that the elections even hold. I think that's what the labor organization, I don't know, Labour Party, labor organization is a bit mixy right now. I don't think Labour should have anything to do with
the labor union, the organized labor union.
Exactly.
That's the way to put it.
Yeah, I just think they should really try to disassociate themselves from politics. Yeah, because it's looking quite blurry right now.
All right, so go on a break. Abuja Today comes up at 4 o'clock afterwards. We'll get back to hearing your thoughts and your reactions to the headlines on the Roundtable today.
This is Nigeria Info.
Nigeria Info.
This is Nigeria Info.
Nigeria Info.
This is Nigeria Info.